The lunch bell rang through the hallways of the Interplanetary Youth Academy, and the students hurried out of their classrooms. The academy was not like other schools on Earth. It had students from many places, not just from different countries, but from different worlds. Some were human, others were from colonies spread across nearby star systems. It was a place built for young minds to learn together, no matter where they came from. Malik walked down the hall with his backpack slung over one shoulder. He was a tall, lean boy with warm brown skin and a smile that could brighten even the rainiest day. Today, though, his mind was more focused on his stomach. His grandmother had packed him a hearty lunch: soft bread, grilled chicken, and slices of sweet fruit. He could already smell the familiar spices through the wrapping. The lunchroom was noisy as always. Students talked in different languages, some human, some alien, their voices blending into a steady hum. Malik found his usual table near the corner, where he could watch the room. He liked to see the different uniforms, gadgets, and sometimes even strange foods the alien students brought. That was when he noticed her. She sat alone at the far end of the room, her back slightly hunched, her gaze fixed on the table. She wore the standard dark blue academy uniform, but hers looked just a little too big, as if she had borrowed it. Her skin was pale, not the kind of pale that came from staying indoors, but a silvery pale that seemed almost to catch the light. Her hair was the color of fine sand, and her eyes were a clear, glassy blue that seemed too bright for the dim room. Malik saw that she had no tray, no lunchbox, nothing. She simply sat there, her hands clasped in front of her, watching the clock on the wall. Her expression was not sad exactly, but distant, like her mind was somewhere far away. He hesitated for a moment. He did not know her name. She had joined their class only last week, and so far she had not spoken much to anyone. Most of the students had decided she was just shy. But Malik could not ignore what he saw. The way her shoulders sank lower with each passing minute. The way she pressed her lips together as if trying to distract herself from hunger. He took a deep breath, stood, and walked toward her. "Hey," he said softly, stopping beside her table. She looked up quickly, startled, as if she had been pulled out of a deep thought. For a moment, her bright blue eyes locked on his, searching his face. "You don't have lunch?" he asked, keeping his tone gentle. Her gaze flicked to the empty table in front of her, then back to him. She shook her head once. "No," she said, her voice quiet and careful, as if she was testing each word. Malik set his lunchbox on the table and sat across from her. He opened it, the scent of the grilled chicken filling the air between them. Without a second thought, he pushed half of the food toward her. A piece of bread, a portion of chicken, and a few slices of fruit. "Here," he said. "You can have this." She stared at the food, then at him, as if unsure whether this was a trick or a test. Her hand stayed on her lap. "It's okay," Malik said. "I've got enough, and my grandma always makes more than I can eat anyway." For another few seconds she hesitated, but then she reached out. Her fingers were long and slender, her movements precise, almost formal. She picked up a slice of fruit first, studying it for a moment before taking a small bite. Her eyes widened slightly, and she quickly ate the rest, then moved to the bread and chicken. She didn't eat fast like someone in a hurry, but with the steady rhythm of someone who was very hungry and trying not to show it. While she ate, Malik stayed quiet. He didn't want to make her uncomfortable. He just watched the room, pretending. He was busy with his own lunch, but out of the corner of his eye, he saw her shoulders straighten a little, her face becoming less tense. When she was done, she looked at him again. For the first time, a faint smile touched her lips. "Thank you," she said, her voice still soft but warmer now. Then she added something else, a string of words in a language Malik had never heard before. The sounds were smooth and flowing, almost like music. "What was that?" Malik asked, tilting his head. Her eyes widened again, and she shook her head quickly. "Sorry, my home language," she said, searching for the right word. "It means deep thanks." Malik nodded, smiling back. "You're welcome." The bell rang for the end of lunch, and students began clearing their tables. She stood up and adjusted a thin silver bracelet on her wrist. Malik noticed it gave off the faintest hum like a tiny machine at work. She gave him one last nod before walking toward the door. Malik sat there for a moment after she left, feeling a strange mix of curiosity and warmth. He didn't know why she had no lunch or what her home language was, but he did know one thing: she was different, and for some reason he wanted to know more. The next day, the Academy's morning classes passed in their usual blur. Malik spent the first 2 periods listening to his history teacher explain the founding of the Interplanetary Council, but his mind kept wandering back to the girl from yesterday. He still didn't know her name, but he remembered the way she had spoken those strange musical words, the ones she said meant deep thanks. When the bell rang for lunch, Malik walked toward the cafeteria with his lunchbox in hand. He scanned the room the moment he stepped inside. Sure enough, she was there again, sitting at the same table as yesterday. This time, though, she looked up as he approached, as if she had been waiting for him. He sat down across from her. "Hi," he said. She nodded politely. "Hello." Malik opened his lunchbox, and without needing to ask, he slid half of it toward her again. She hesitated only for a second before taking it. He noticed that today her hands were steadier and her eyes met his more easily. "I'm Malik," he said after a moment. She looked thoughtful, as if turning the name over in her mind. "Lyra," she replied. "That's a nice name," Malik said with a smile. "Where are you from?" Lyra's gaze drifted toward the large windows on the far wall, where the city skyline shimmered in the midday sun. "Far away," she said simply. Malik chuckled softly. "Yeah, I figured. This school has students from all over." He paused. "Is your family here in the city?" Her answer came slower this time. "They are close," she said, though her tone made it sound like close did not mean nearby in the way humans use the word. Malik wanted to ask more, but he decided not to push. He had learned from his grandmother that sometimes it was better to let people share their stories in their own time. Instead, he noticed the silver bracelet on her wrist again. It was shaped like a smooth band with faint markings along its surface. Every now and then, a soft vibration came from it, like the hum of a tiny motor. "That's an interesting bracelet," Malik said, pointing at it. "Does it do something?" Lyra's hand moved quickly to cover it. Her eyes flickered with what looked like alarm, but it passed in an instant. "It is important," she said. "It helps me stay well." Malik tilted his head. "Like a medical device?" Her lips pressed together and she didn't answer. Malik realized she wasn't ready to explain, so he nodded and changed the subject to something lighter: what she thought about the Academy's food, which sports she liked, and which subjects she found interesting. To his surprise, she seemed to relax as they talked. Her voice, still soft, carried a musical quality. She spoke carefully, sometimes searching for the right word, but she had a quiet warmth that Malik liked. By the time lunch ended, she had even laughed once at his joke about how the Academy's science lab smelled like burnt wires and mystery soup. As the afternoon classes went on, Malik noticed something unusual. Whenever he glanced at Lyra, she seemed to be watching him too, as if studying him in return. Her expression was never unfriendly, but it carried a depth he couldn't quite name. When the final bell rang and students began packing up, Malik left the classroom with his friends. He was halfway down the hall when he heard a light, quick set of footsteps behind him. "Malik," Lyra's voice called softly. He turned. She stood there with her hands clasped in front of her. "Yes?" She stepped closer. Yesterday, you helped me. Today you did again. I will not forget this. Malik gave a small shrug. It's no big deal. You were hungry and I had food. That's all. Lyra shook her head, her pale hair catching the light. To you, maybe it is small. To me, it is not. Before Malik could reply, she said something again in her home language. The same flowing, melodic words he had heard before. This time, though, there was something different about the sound. It seemed to carry a faint echo, almost as if the air around them responded to it. What does it mean exactly? Malik asked. Lyra's eyes met his. It means I give you my promise. One day, I will return your kindness. And with that, she turned and walked away, leaving Malik standing in the hallway with a strange feeling in his chest. He didn't know why, but he believed her. That night, as Malik sat at his desk doing homework, he found himself thinking about Lyra's words. He didn't know where she came from or why she seemed so guarded, but he had the sense there was more to her story. Something big, something far beyond the walls of their school. He also remembered the faint hum of her bracelet, the way her eyes had lit up when she ate his lunch, and the strange echo in her voice when she spoke her promise. Whatever her secret was, Malik knew it was only a matter of time before he found out. The next morning at the Interplanetary Youth Academy began like any other. The school's main courtyard was full of students arriving from every direction, some stepping off local city buses, others walking from nearby dormitories. Malik greeted a few of his friends on the way in, but his eyes kept drifting toward the main doors, wondering if Lyra would be there. Yesterday had left him with a strange sense of curiosity. Lyra was polite but guarded, her words careful, her expressions subtle. He knew there was more to her story, but he had no idea what it could be. First period came and went without much excitement. Malik was halfway through his second class when the door slid open with a soft hiss. The teacher paused mid-sentence as two figures entered. One was Lyra, and the other was a man Malik had never seen before. The man was tall and lean, with short dark hair that had a faint metallic sheen in the light. He wore a long coat, the color of polished steel, with thin silver lines running down the sleeves like veins. His movements were calm and deliberate, as if every step had been planned in advance. "Excuse me," the man said in a voice that was deep and clear. "I am here to speak with one of your students." The teacher looked uncertain, but stepped aside. "And you are?" "Dr. Varon," the man replied. His gaze swept the room until it rested on Malik. "I believe this is the one I need to see." The whole class turned to look at Malik. He felt a sudden twist in his stomach. Lyra stood beside Dr. Varon, her face unreadable. Dr. Varon approached Malik's desk. "If you would come with us," he said. It was not a request, though his tone remained polite. Malik glanced at the teacher, who gave a hesitant nod. "Go on, Malik. I'm sure it's important." He stood, feeling the weight of every curious stare in the room. Following Lyra and Dr. Varon, he stepped into the hallway. The door closed behind them and the noise of the classroom faded. "Where are we going?" Malik asked. "The science lab," Dr. Varon replied. "It will be private there." They walked in silence down the long hall. Malik's mind raced. Why would Lyra bring someone to see him, and why did this man seem so different? There was something about the way Dr. Varon moved, the way his eyes seemed to take in every detail. When they reached the science lab, Dr. Varon closed the door and activated the room's privacy screen. The windows dimmed, and the soft hum of the air vents filled the silence. "Sit, please," Dr. Varon said, gesturing to one of the stools near the lab tables. Malik sat while Lyra remained standing beside the doctor. "I imagine you are wondering why we are here," Dr. Varon began. "That's one way to put it," Malik said carefully. Dr. Varon studied him for a moment before speaking. Lyra told me what you did for her. You shared your food. You may think it was a small act, but it was not. Malik looked at Lyra, who was watching him closely. I just didn't want her to be hungry, he said. Dr. Varen nodded. And yet, your food contained something rare, something that Lyra needs to survive. On her homeworld, the air, the soil, even the plants are different. Here, she cannot get the same nutrients unless they are specially prepared. The lunch you shared happened to have them. By chance. Malik frowned. So, if I hadn't shared... She would have collapsed within the day, Dr. Varen said plainly. Malik stared at Lyra, who lowered her gaze. Why didn't you tell someone? He asked. Lyra's voice was quiet. We are hiding, she said. Dr. Varen gave a slow nod. Her family is in a delicate situation. There are those who would use her biology for purposes that are not in her best interest. Here, at this academy, she blends in. But even here, we must be careful. Malik leaned back on the stool, trying to process what he was hearing. So, you're saying my lunch basically saved her life? In simple terms, yes, Dr. Varen replied. For a long moment, none of them spoke. Malik's thoughts were a whirl of questions, but one stood out. Why tell me all this? I mean, if you're hiding, wouldn't it be safer not to? Dr. Varen's gaze sharpened. Because Lyra trusts you, and because whether you like it or not, you are now part of her story. Your kindness connected you to her. That bond may protect her, or it may put you both in danger. The words settled heavily in Malik's chest. He glanced at Lyra again. She was still watching him, her expression calm, but her eyes carrying something deeper, a mix of gratitude and worry. Finally, Dr. Varen straightened. I did not come here to frighten you. I came to thank you, and to tell you that if strange things begin to happen, you should come to me immediately. He reached into his coat and pulled out a small metallic card, no larger than Malik's palm. Its surface shimmered faintly. Press this if you need me, he said, placing it in Malik's hand. Malik looked down at the card. It was smooth and cool, with markings that shifted when he tilted it. What exactly is going to happen? He asked. Dr. Varen's answer was calm but unsettling. I hope nothing. But there are eyes in this system that search for people like Lyra, and sometimes they find what they are looking for. With that, he deactivated the privacy screen. The windows brightened, and the sound of the hallway returned. Lyra gave Malik one last small smile before following Dr. Varen out of the room. Malik stayed in the lab for a few moments, staring at the strange card in his hand. He didn't know exactly what was going on, but one thing was clear. His life had just taken a turn into something far bigger than school lunches and homework. Malik did not sleep much that night. He lay in bed staring at the ceiling, the strange metallic card on his bedside table. It caught the faint glow from the streetlights outside, the shifting patterns on its surface moving slowly, almost like they were alive. Every time he closed his eyes, he saw Lyra's pale face, the way she had looked at him in the science lab. He heard Dr. Varen's calm voice warning him that his kindness had made him part of her story. By morning, he had decided he needed more answers. He tucked the metallic card into his pocket before heading to school. Classes passed slowly, his mind only half on the lessons. At lunch, Malik scanned the room for Lyra, but she wasn't there. He sat with his friends but barely touched his food. When the lunch bell ended, he was making his way toward the next class when a soft hum came from his pocket. He pulled out the card. The shifting symbols were glowing brighter than before. Then a faint voice came from it. Dr. Varen's voice. Come to the east stairwell, now! Malik's heart skipped a beat. He slipped away from the crowded hallway and found the east stairwell almost empty. Dr. Varen was waiting at the bottom, with Lyra beside him. She gave Malik a small nod. "Walk with us," Dr. Varen said. His tone was calm, but his eyes were sharp. They led Malik to a small, unused conference room. Once inside, Dr. Varen locked the door and adjusted something on his coat. The air around them shimmered slightly, like heat rising from a road. Malik guessed it was some kind of privacy shield. "You want to know the truth?" Dr. Varen said. Malik nodded. "I think I deserve to know. You told me I'm part of this now." Dr. Varen leaned against the table, his hands clasped behind his back. "Lyra is not from Earth. She comes from a world called Halvana, a colony in the outer regions of our star network. On Halvana, the people have adapted to an environment very different from this planet. Their bodies need certain minerals and compounds that are rare here. Without them, their health declines quickly." Malik glanced at Lyra, who was watching him quietly. "So when I shared my lunch," Dr. Varen nodded. "By chance, your food contained one of those compounds. It is in certain earth plants and animals, but only in small amounts, enough to keep her stable until I could bring more from our stores." Malik frowned. "But why hide all this? If she's in danger, couldn't the council or someone help?" Lyra's voice was soft but steady. "There are people who want what is inside us. On my world, our biology is valuable. Some groups believe they can use it to make medicines or enhancements. Others believe it should be controlled and sold. My family refused to be part of that. We left Halvana. We have been hiding since." Dr. Varen continued, "The ones who hunt us are skilled. They have influence in places they should not. If they learn Lyra is here, they will come." Malik sat back in his chair, trying to take it in. "And you think they might find her?" Dr. Varen's eyes narrowed. "They search constantly. So far, we have stayed ahead of them. But Lyra's condition makes her vulnerable. She must eat carefully prepared food. Your act of kindness kept her from collapsing in public, which could have drawn attention." Malik felt a strange mix of pride and worry. "So, I helped, but now I might also be a target." "That is why I told you," Dr. Varen said. "If you notice anything unusual, strange people asking questions, odd movements around the school, you must contact me immediately." Malik looked at the card again. "This will reach you anywhere?" "Yes," Dr. Varen said. "And, only I can hear it." For a moment, the room was silent except for the faint hum of the privacy shield. Malik could feel Lyra's gaze on him. "Why me?" he asked finally. "You could have kept this secret." Lyra answered this time. "Because I trust you. You helped me when you had no reason to. That means something to my people. We believe that trust, once given, is a bond." Her words carried a quiet strength, and Malik felt their weight. He thought about how easy it would have been to ignore her that first day, to eat his lunch and walk away. But he hadn't. And now he understood how much that choice had mattered. Dr. Varen straightened. "We will not keep you any longer. I wanted you to have the truth so you are prepared. But remember, the fewer people who know, the safer." "She is." Malik nodded slowly. "I understand." The privacy shimmer faded as Dr. Varen deactivated the device on his coat. The door unlocked with a soft click. Lyra gave Malik one last look before they stepped out into the hallway, blending back into the flow of students as if nothing unusual had happened. Malik stood there for a moment, feeling the weight of the metallic card in his pocket. The world outside the conference room looked the same as it had yesterday, but he knew now that it wasn't. Somewhere beyond the sky, people were searching for Lyra, and if they ever found her, he would be ready. 3 days passed quietly, or at least that was how it looked on the surface. Classes went on as usual. Students laughed in the hallways, the school's sports teams practiced after lessons. But Malik had started to notice things. Small things. It began with the ship reports. In his science class, the morning news feed was showing images from orbital satellites. Most students didn't pay attention, but Malik noticed something strange. A few small, dark shapes had been seen near the outer edge of Earth's orbital zone. The official explanation called them unidentified cargo drones that had probably drifted from a nearby trade route. But when Malik glanced at Lyra, he saw her eyes tighten slightly just for a moment before she looked away. Later that day, while walking home, Malik felt a presence behind him. At first, he thought it was just another student heading in the same direction. But when he slowed down, the footsteps slowed too. He turned suddenly, only to see a man in a plain gray coat turning the corner without looking back. Malik told himself he might be imagining it. But that night, as he sat at his desk, he kept glancing at the metallic card on the table. He wanted to call Dr. Varon, but decided against it. It was only the first strange day. Maybe it was nothing. The next day, the unease grew. Malik was leaving the library when he spotted the same man in the gray coat standing near the front gate of the academy. He wasn't talking to anyone, just watching the students as they left. His gaze swept the crowd, and Malik was almost certain it paused on him for a second too long. When Malik found Lyra in the lunchroom, she was sitting with her back to the wall, scanning the room between bites. It was subtle, but he recognized it. She was looking for something, or someone. Lyra, Malik said quietly as he sat down. Do you know a man in a gray coat? She froze for a fraction of a second before answering. Why do you ask? I've seen him 2 days in a row. He's hanging around the school. Her eyes met his, and for a moment there was no guarded politeness in them, only alertness. What did he look like? Average height, short hair, no expression. Like he's trying to blend in. Lyra's lips pressed together. She set down her fork and leaned closer. If you see him again, do not approach. Do not speak to him. Tell Dr. Varon. Is he one of the people looking for you? Malik asked. She didn't answer directly, but the look on her face was enough. That afternoon, Malik decided he couldn't wait. When he got home, he pressed the metallic card. It warmed in his palm, and a faint shimmer appeared above it. Dr. Varon's image. Yes, Malik? The doctor's voice came through. There's a man, gray coat, watching the school. Doctor. Varon's expression remained calm, but Malik noticed the smallest change in his tone. You saw him more than once? Yes. And Lyra, she reacted. I think she knows. Dr. Varon nodded once. I will look into it. You did well to tell me. The image faded, leaving Malik staring at the card. He had a feeling the quiet days were over. That night, Malik dreamed of shadows moving through the school hallways. The dream. He followed the sound of footsteps, only to find Lyra standing alone in the dark, her silver bracelet glowing faintly. She looked at him and said, They are here, before the dream faded away. The following morning, Malik's instincts were proven right. As he arrived at school, there was a faint buzz in the air, a sense of tension. 2 members of the academy's security team stood near the gates, their eyes moving over every student. Malik spotted Dr. Varon speaking quietly with them. When Malik approached, Dr. Varon gave him a small nod but did not speak. Lyra was already inside, waiting by the classroom door. She stepped closer to him and whispered, 2 more ships in orbit last night. They're scanning traffic near the planet. Are they looking for you? Malik asked. They're looking for something rare, Lyra said. If they think it's here, they won't leave. Malik thought of the man in the gray coat. And what about him? Lyra's eyes were steady. If he works for them, he is here to watch. They send watchers before they act. The idea sent a chill through Malik. So what do we do? Stay alert, Lyra said, and don't be alone. That day, Malik kept close to Lyra whenever he could. They spoke little about it, but both knew that the quiet tension around them was growing. Even the ordinary sounds of the academy, the chatter of students, the hum of the ventilation, seemed sharper, as if they were listening for something beneath it. When the final bell rang, Malik walked out with Lyra, scanning the street ahead. The man in the gray coat was not there, but Malik had the uneasy feeling that somewhere he was still watching. The following morning, Malik noticed a quiet change in the academy. The usual rush of students moving through the hallways was still there, but the atmosphere felt heavier. Security officers were stationed near the main entrances, and a few teachers seemed distracted, glancing toward the windows between lessons. Malik didn't have to guess why. The man in the gray coat hadn't been seen since yesterday, but that didn't mean he was gone. And above them, somewhere in orbit, those unknown ships were still out there. Lyra was already at her desk when Malik walked into class. She gave him a small nod, her eyes steady but watchful. It was the kind of look that said she was thinking about more than just today's lessons. During the lunch break, Malik found Lyra in their usual corner of the cafeteria. Dr. Varon joined them a few minutes later, carrying a small case. "We don't have much time," Dr. Varon said, keeping his voice low. "The Watchers have not made a move yet, which means they are waiting for the right moment. That gives us a chance to set the terms." Malik leaned in. "What do you mean?" Dr. Varon placed the case on the table and opened it just enough for them to see inside. Neatly arranged within were several small devices shaped like discs, each about the size of a coin. "These will help mask Lyra's presence," the doctor explained. "They emit a low-level signal that disrupts the scanners the Watchers use. If we place them around the academy, it will create interference strong enough to make them think she is somewhere else." Lyra studied the discs. "Will they believe it? If they are careful, they may suspect a trick," Dr. Varon said. "But if we keep her moving, they will have to guess, and guessing means hesitation." Malik thought about it. "So we need to make them think she's in one place while she's actually somewhere else." Dr. Varon nodded. "Exactly. That's where you come in. If you stay with Lyra in public spaces, they'll see you both. But at certain times, you'll need to create the illusion that she's leaving when she's not, or entering when she's already gone. Your normal routines will help with this." Malik glanced at Lyra. "That means we have to make it look like nothing's wrong." "That is the point," Lyra said. The plan began that afternoon. Malik carried 3 of the small discs in his bag, placing them in locations Dr. Varon had marked on a map, one near the library, one in the music room, and one near the old storage wing that most students never visited. Each disc activated, with a soft pulse of light before going completely still, blending into the surroundings. Meanwhile, Lyra stayed visible in places where students often gathered. She joined group study sessions, walked the hallways between classes, and even visited the sports courts, though she didn't play. Malik stayed close enough that if anyone was watching, they would see them together. Over the next 2 days, the plan seemed to work. Malik didn't spot the man in the gray coat again, and Lyra appeared more at ease, though he could tell she was still on guard. But on the 3rd day, something happened. Malik was leaving the library when he caught sight of a reflection in the window, a tall figure standing at the far end of the hallway watching him. The reflection was faint, but it was enough. When Malik turned to look directly, the figure was already gone. He didn't waste time. Pulling the metallic card from his pocket, he pressed it. Dr. Varon's voice came through almost instantly. "Where are you?" "Library hallway," Malik whispered. "I think I saw someone. Might be him." "Stay with Lyra," Dr. Varon instructed. "Do not split up. I'm on my way." Malik found Lyra in the study lounge. She was seated by the window, reading. But the moment she saw his face, She closed the book. "He's here?" she asked quietly. "I think so," Malik said. "We need to stick to the plan." For the rest of the afternoon, they kept to crowded areas. If the watcher was still in the building, he wouldn't have the chance to corner either of them without being seen. Dr. Varon appeared twice, walking casually through the halls as if he were a visiting instructor. After the final bell, Malik and Lyra walked out together. The street outside the academy was busy with students heading home. But halfway down the block, Malik felt that same prickling sense of being watched. He resisted the urge to turn around. Instead, he kept talking to Lyra as if nothing was wrong. "Still behind us," he murmured. "Keep walking," she said. When they reached the corner, a sleek black transport was parked by the curb. The side door slid open, and Dr. Varon's voice called from inside. "This way!" They stepped in quickly. The door closed, and the transport moved smoothly into the flow of traffic. "Did you see him?" Malik asked. "Yes," Dr. Varon said, his voice calm. "He's one of the watchers. They haven't moved to take her yet, but they're closing in. That means we've bought some time, but not much." Lyra looked at Malik. "Then we make them waste every second we can." Malik nodded. "And when they finally make a move, we'll be ready." The sun was beginning to set over the city as Malik and Lyra stepped out of Dr. Varon's transport. The streets were quieter now, but Malik could feel the tension hanging in the air. This was the moment they had been preparing for. The Watchers were going to make their move. Malik glanced at Lyra. Her silver bracelet softly hummed, a faint glow pulsing beneath her skin. She looked calm, but Malik could see the worry behind her steady eyes. He remembered the first day they met, how a simple act of sharing lunch had started this whole journey. "We stick to the plan," Lyra said quietly, "but be ready for anything." Malik nodded, his heart pounding. The academy was no longer just a school. It had become a battleground, but not one of weapons and explosions. This was a battle of wits, trust, and friendship. As they walked through the familiar hallways, Malik noticed the usual buzz of students had mostly faded. Most had left, unaware of the silent danger closing in. The small discs Dr. Varon had given them were hidden around the building, quietly working to confuse and disrupt the Watchers' scanners. Suddenly, a faint noise caught Malik's attention, a soft click from the end of the corridor. He tightened his grip on Lyra's hand, signaling her to be ready. From the shadows, two figures appeared. Their clothes were dark, blending with the dim light, and their eyes were sharp and watchful. The Watchers had arrived. Malik and Lyra moved quickly, weaving through classrooms and stairwells, staying close to crowded areas when possible. The Watchers followed, their footsteps silent but deliberate. "You ready?" Malik whispered. Lyra nodded. Yes. They reached the science lab, the place where Malik had first learned the truth about Lyra. Malik quickly placed his hand on a hidden panel near the door. The wall slid open, revealing a secret room filled with technology. "This way," Malik said. They slipped inside and closed the door behind them. The Watchers reached the entrance just moments later, but the sliding door had already sealed shut. "Now," Lyra said. She activated one of the devices Dr. Varon had given them. A low hum filled the room as the disk's signals amplified. Outside, the Watchers' scanners blinked erratically, unable to pinpoint Lyra's location. Malik watched the monitor screens, showing blurred images and shifting patterns. The Watchers were confused, unable to track them properly. Suddenly, a loud alarm echoed from the hallway. The Watchers were trying to force the door open. "We don't have much time," Malik said. Lyra nodded and pressed a few buttons. The room's lighting changed, casting shadows in unusual shapes. The devices sent pulses of light, creating illusions that made it appear as if Lyra was moving in different directions. Outside, the Watchers struggled to keep up. Malik could see their frustration growing. "This is working," Malik said with relief. Lyra smiled briefly. "Kindness brought us here. It will also save us." Just then, the door shook. The watchers began to push harder. Malik glanced at the communicator Dr. Varon had given him. He pressed the button, hoping for backup. A moment later, the door slid open, not from the watchers, but from Dr. Varon and a small team of security officers. "Move quickly," Dr. Varon said calmly. "We've sealed off the area, but they won't stop trying." Malik and Lyra followed the team through secret passages known only to staff. As they emerged outside, the night sky was filled with stars and the quiet hum of orbiting ships. "Doctor." Varon turned to Malik. "You did well. Your kindness was the key. It gave Lyra strength when she needed it most." Lyra stepped forward, holding out the small crystalline pendant she wore around her neck. She handed it to Malik. "This is a communicator linked to my people," she explained. "If you ever need help, or if you want to find me, it will guide you." Malik took the pendant carefully, feeling its gentle warmth. "Thank you," he said simply. Lyra smiled. "No, thank you. You saved my life." As they parted ways, Malik watched Lyra disappear into the night, knowing that their worlds were forever connected. Back in his room, Malik placed the pendant beside the metallic card on his desk. Both objects glowed softly in the dark. He smiled to himself. One small act of kindness had changed everything, not just for Lyra, but for him too. And in that moment, Malik understood something important. Kindness is a power greater than any technology or secret weapon. It is what binds us, what gives us hope, and what makes heroes out of ordinary people. The future was uncertain, but Malik was ready, because he knew that no matter what challenges came, kindness would always be his guide.